I want to tell you, I get to be the boring guy today, but you have questions, and if you remember the old Radio Shack commercial, you've got questions, we've got answers. So we're going to try to give you some answers this morning to questions that we've anticipated you might have. But before I do that, I want to tell you, where's Josh Hollinger? Where are you? Raise your hand. Okay. You have no idea what's going to happen next to you. The detective sergeant that I was talking to last night from the sheriff's office mentioned the Hollinger family and that a son of his has been influenced by Josh to come to youth group. And he was talking about his 6-year-old boy who said, God's house burned down? Did God make it out okay? So we have plenty of evidence here this morning that God made it out okay. Amen? So that's good. It's good to see the people of BridgePoint Church coming together to worship. Less than 24 hours after undoubtedly the most devastating earthly loss this church has ever experienced. And yes, we want to convey a message of hope and inspiration. And yes, we want you to know that God is in control and that all is well. But as leaders in the church, we also know that you have questions for which you are seeking answers. And so I'm going to take the next few minutes to just go over some facts with you that we do know at this time. And I will not be speculating about anything that we do not know right now. I'm sure more information will be forthcoming each day as we move forward. We're going to do our best to keep everyone informed of any new developments. Meanwhile, here are the things that we know as well as the steps we're taking as a leadership team as we enter into this time of transition. One, it's apparent that although it hasn't been officially declared by fire officials or our insurance company yet, we believe it's apparent that our building is a total loss. And so what is happening associated with that fact? One, obviously there's going to be a thorough investigation to discover the cause of the fire if possible. There are detectives from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office who will be joined today by federal agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives who, simply because of the size of our structure and simply because we're a church and churches have been known to be targets of hate crimes, the federal agency is stepping in to investigate from that aspect. I should add, too, that investigators from the State Fire Marshal's Office are also here with us checking things out this morning. And so they'll investigate all of those things until everything can be ruled out. An adjuster from the large loss claims department of our insurer will be coming up from the Indianapolis area to meet with us tomorrow afternoon. We'll go over all of the coverages that we have. And we'll be especially mindful of any coverage provided for the rental of temporary spaces that we'll need to conduct our various ministries. One thing we need everyone to do who may have had some personal items in the building is to make a list of any personal item that you had that would have been lost and give as much descriptive information as you can about it, brand name, model number, if you know it, what the cost when it was new was to you, and about how long ago you purchased it. We know that it's not likely that there are going to be receipts for purchases of all of the personal items that may have been there, but at the same time we want to make sure that we can restore as much as possible. So we need you to do that and hang on to it until we ask for it. Okay. Second, on the subject of temporary space, We have already been meeting with our township officials and officials from the school district and talking to a real estate agent to begin the search for space in which to set up our offices so that we can resume day-to-day operations, and nothing else can happen if that doesn't happen. So that's very high on our priority list. We are fortunate Paul Peroni has demonstrated such servant leadership in the last several hours, and so thankful to have him in place. And our Bedford School Superintendent, Mark Kleinens, has been amazing to work with, and I'm sure he will continue to be. And it's been a real blessing to us to have that support and their influence and expertise. So we appreciate them. As for the Love and Care Nursery School, the search for suitable space will begin, but with a keen eye on locations that meet certain code requirements or that can be brought up to those standards very quickly. We have to keep in mind that Love and Care has nothing. They have no furniture, they have no curriculum, they have no supplies. So getting the preschool back up and running is going to be contingent on finding that space and getting the equipment and supplies that we need to make that happen to cover the needs of the program. So we are beginning that search tomorrow as well. Next, your leadership team is working very closely together and seeking God's wisdom in providing direction during this transition time, beginning with a meeting last evening that included our elders, with the exception of Chad Hill, who was traveling, and our trustees and our church staff, and we met together for several hours last night. And of course, Pastor Craig was not able to be with us because he was on his way back from Philly, but we were on the phone with him quite a bit last night as well. And then just so that everyone is aware, Chuck Estep has been on sabbatical for some time, and he has stepped back into his role as an elder to provide some assistance for us during this time as well. There are other leaders in the church who are going to be taking on various responsibilities. But know this, we will all be communicating with one another. You'll hear all of our voices in unison regarding the steps we're taking and decisions that are being made. We're determined to rejoice in the various gifts and skills that God has blessed us with, while relying on the Holy Spirit to grace us with the power necessary to exercise those gifts. And so for that, we earnestly ask for your prayers as we work together. We're already being flooded with offers to help with various things, suggesting solutions for some of the issues that we face and so on. Just know that we have to be very deliberate in our process. We have to be cautious in our approach, and we want to minimize the opportunity for us to get ahead of ourselves and begin making hasty decisions, which often turn out to be poor decisions. So if you have a comment or if you have a suggestion that you want to share with us, we just ask that you do so by email to the church office. And if you need that email address, it's simply office, and then the @ sign, shift to. You know, my son calls me Technosaurus Rex. So what? office at bridgepoint.org, bridgepoint.org. And as we get those comments and suggestions, we'll look those over and act on things that are consistent with what our priorities are. We want you to know that we appreciate your help, but we just can't be overwhelmed with people coming to us and saying whatever, okay? Finally, everything I've said to you in the last few minutes is what we do know and what we are doing to accomplish things in those areas. If there's something that I didn't mention, it's because I don't have complete information about that. And so we can't talk about it right now. I don't know is still a legitimate answer to a question if we don't know, okay? So you may hear that several times, but we're going to always strive to tell you what we do know. We are looking for all the information we need. We want you to be confident that you will know what we know as soon as practically possible. And we're not going to be taking any questions live from the audience today, but our leaders from the elders and the trustees and the staff will be available throughout the area after we dismiss today. If you'd just like to come up and offer an encouraging word or be encouraged, or have someone just breathe a quick word of prayer with you and help you as you still struggle to adjust. We want you to know that we're here to do that.